Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here, we're live. I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. I don't think I haven't done an evening stream in a while on this channel, so I thank you all for joining me today. Please, if you haven't already, hit the like button. That's the most important thing you can do for me on this channel. What that does, that helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get their notifications, and also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you're one of those ghost watchers, always watching my content, my live stream, my videos, but not subscribing, please do me a favor and yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification next to the subscribe button, so you'll be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. That is extremely important that you do that. And the Telegram link is pinned in the live chat. It's in the description box below and will be pinned in the comment section as well once the stream ends. And now that the intro is out of the way, let's get the show started. Let's get today's stream started, right? Tariffs, tariffs, tariffs. Everyone's talking about Trump and his tariffs. It was pretty humorous over the weekend watching so many people desperately wanting this tariff talk and the trade war to fail, right? So many people were desperate for Trump to fail in his endeavor to get Canada, Mexico, and China to essentially play ball in order to assist and make America great again. A lot of people were running around here, Democrats and all other type of goofies, saying, "Oh my God, look at what Trump is doing. The price of guacamole is going to skyrocket, and the price of Coronas, and so on and so forth. Blah 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 blah. Yada yada yada." And lo and behold, before the tariffs could actually go into play, which was supposed to be midnight tonight, if I remember correctly, everyone folded. Everyone folded, right? It would, well, to be fair, so far with the exception of China. But they'll be coming around very shortly too. I'm going to get into that in a moment. But why did everybody fail the way that they did, or fold, I should say? Why did everyone fold the way that they did and fold so quickly? Well, here's why, right? I want to pull this graph up for you right now on the screen. This right here is from the, what's the name of this group again? I believe it's Kiel Institute for the World Economy. Kiel Institute for the World Economy. And if you want to have a copy of this for yourself, I don't have it linked down below, but here's the actual article title or report title, right? Trump's tariff threats could significantly harm North American economies, right? So if you want to look that up yourself. But here's my point. What they have here is a graph of the negative effects that the tariffs would have on all parties: the United States, Canada, Mexico, EU 27, Europe, and the globe as a whole. This tariff war, the 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, and the 10% on China, it would have affected everybody negatively, as you can see in the global part, which is all the way to the right, or all the way to my right. But all the way to my left, right, what you're seeing right here, this is the United States. Uh, would we have felt a little pinch, a little bit of a sting? A little bit, a little pinch. But it would have really went bad, as you can see, for Canada. It would have been horrible for Canada. And the trade war would have completely devastated Mexico, if this actually went through. This is why you saw, or we see, Canada and Mexico throw in the towel and fold as quickly as they did, right? Because they don't stand a chance in a tariff war with the United States. This is Trump's ultimate trump card in his negotiation toolbox. And once he pulled this out, every nation knew they couldn't really match up to us over here if they wanted to go tit for tat, despite how tough they talk, right? And I want to play this right here very quickly because it just goes to show, how quickly these guys fold once Trump actually applies pressure. I want to get into Mexico right quick. Let's talk about Mexico for a little bit. And our favorite president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, right? The very liberal, progressive, hard-headed president that they have over there. Let's get into this clip right now.
Breaking just moments ago, President Trump agreeing to pause the anticipated tariffs against Mexico for 1 month, hours before they were set to go into effect. Mexico agreed to send 10,000 troops to the border as part of the agreement, which averts a trade war with our southern neighbors for now. And Trump's next call today is to Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Emily Campagno here with my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany. Also joining us today, Marie Harf, Fox News contributor and former State Department spokesperson under President Obama, and Brian Kilmeade, Fox and Friends co-host, host of the Brian Kilmeade radio show, and host of One Nation with Brian Kilmeade. Now, the move to end those proposed tariffs came after a phone call between President Trump and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. She said the deal marks the respectful relationship between our two nations. President Trump is set to speak with Prime Minister Trudeau just hours from now. The president defended the tariffs over the weekend. Watch.
Canada's been very abusive of the United States for many years. We subsidize Canada by the tune of about $200 billion a year. And for what? What do we get out of it? We don't get anything out of it. I love the people of Canada. I disagree with the leadership of Canada. And something's going to happen there. But if they want to play the game, I don't mind.
Well, Prime Minister Trudeau teased retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. and told Canadians to be prepared for the impending trade war.
Before we get into Canada, I want to stay with Mexico for a moment, okay? Because like I said, these guys didn't stand a chance, particularly Mexico. When you come back to this graph here, they would have been completely devastated. Mexico folded so fast that they even did this here. Mexican government announces arrest of top cartel commander right after Trump's phone call. Wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? Right after the phone call, all of a sudden, they're arresting top people in the cartel, right? Now, mind you, Claudia Sheinbaum, I'm always confused if I'm saying her name right or not, right? But Claudia Sheinbaum, on numerous occasions, whenever it's brought up to her, her need to not just secure the border, right, as it pertains to stopping illegal immigrants from coming through. Outside of that, whenever you would introduce to her the idea that she needs to get a clamp down on the cartel and stop the flow of fentanyl from coming into the country, she will consistently tell Trump, that's your problem. The drug issue that you're having in the US, that's your issue over there. It's not my issue. Don't put that on us. But you see, once the pressure was applied on her, and she knew that there was nothing she can do concerning the trade war to actually hurt us here, economically speaking, outside of a small little pinch, you can say, all of a sudden she got some act right in there and she's catching cartel members. You see how that works? You see how that works? You see how quickly everyone bends the knee when the pressure is applied and they know that they can't win? The same thing can be said about Canada as well. I want to play a few clips here because what you're going to see is essentially Justin Trudeau beg Canadians, right, with tariffs on the horizon. And this is before, they came to their agreement. Because as you can see here, Trump says he has paused U.S. tariffs on Canada for at least 30 days after the call with Trudeau, right? And you can see here, look at Trudeau. Good man. He's finally playing ball. Trump agrees to pause tariffs on Canada in exchange for border enforcement. And also, too, if you dive deep into the stuff, you'll see that Trudeau also put in place a fentanyl czar. I found that kind of humorous when I first heard it. I guess it's not humorous because of the serious nature of it, but a fentanyl czar, yeah, Trudeau's getting in line. Canada's getting in line, right? But because they desperately needed to. And this is really important right here for me to point out, like how badly this was going to affect them. So I want to come back into, I want to pull this video up very quickly. Look, watch this and hit the like button if you haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. But check this out right here, what you're going to hear Trudeau say as far as the negative effects that the tariffs were going to have on Canada.
25% tariffs on $106 billion worth of American goods.
Tariffs against Canada will put your jobs at risk, potentially shutting down American auto assembly plants and other manufacturing facilities. They will raise costs for you, including food at the grocery stores and gas at the pump.
Trudeau.
I want to take a moment to focus on what he says about manufacturing plants shutting down and people losing their jobs over there, right? Now, let's get back into these articles real quick, right? I want to jump back into this because I really want to harp on this point so we understand how much leverage that the U.S. actually has over Canada concerning tariffs. Look at this here. Let me pull this article up for you guys right now. And this article here, it comes from the largest newspaper in Canada, which is the Globe and Mail. And technically, it's the second largest next to, I believe, the Toronto Star, technically, only because the Toronto Star produces a publication on Sundays, to which the Globe and Mail does not, right? But the reality is that the Globe and Mail is bigger than the Toronto Star. Look at the articles they were publishing here with tariffs looming before Trump spared them and paused it and said, okay, we could talk a little bit more. Canadian businesses plan to shift investment and operations to U.S. to mitigate potential tariffs, KPMG survey shows. Look at this one right here. Canadian food companies plan to expand production to U.S. as tariffs loom. It was going to be bad. Canadian food companies, manufacturing companies were going to shut down shop in Canada and bring all those jobs over here because they wouldn't have been able to sustain operating in Canada in the midst of a tariff war, especially when you have Trump throwing out incentives like this.
My message to every business in the world is very simple. Come make your product in America, and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth. We're bringing them down very substantially, even from the original Trump tax cuts. But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff, differing amounts, but a tariff which will direct hundreds of billions of dollars and even trillions of dollars into our treasury.
So you see, there is such a great incentive for these companies to come here already. Essentially, you know, if Trump still wanted to pull the trigger on this just for the sake of bringing more jobs into the country, he can just say, you know, I don't want to discuss anything with Canada. I don't want to discuss anything with Trudeau. 25% tariffs, bring all those jobs over here. He could crush them like that if that's what he wanted to do. He's literally sparing Canada. He's literally sparing Canada right now. And I want you to see it. I want to keep harping on this point. And shout out to my man, Black Bitcoin Key, if he's watching, because he is our, you know, our resident, you know, Canadian friend that joins us here. You know, I don't want to dump on Canada too much, but I mean, it's really more trust Justin Trudeau and the current government that's in charge right now, right? That has you guys looking silly out here, got you guys looking weak and just in a position to where, you know, you can't even really negotiate, right? Without coming out on the losing end every single time, right? Check this out right here. Look at Justin Trudeau literally begging the Canadian people to not buy American goods when he thought the tariffs were coming. This is how bad it was going to be for them.
And now is also the time to choose Canada. There are many ways for you to do your part. It might mean checking the labels at the supermarket and picking Canadian-made products. It might mean opting for Canadian rye over Kentucky bourbon, or foregoing Florida orange juice altogether. It might mean changing your summer vacation plans to stay here in Canada and explore the many national and provincial parks, historical sites, and tourist destinations our great country has to offer.
Nobody was going to do that. No one was going to do that. Oh my God, this was going to be bad for them. This was going to be horrible for Canada. He's literally begging everyone to stay in Canada and buy Canadian products only, which everybody knows they weren't going to do. This would have went poorly for them. They had to bend the knee. And now they've agreed to enforce, to put more troops on the border to stop the flow of illegal immigration, stop the flow of drugs. Mexico is also doing the same thing. They said, okay. We're sorry. We'll play ball. Let's just talk it out. Let's just talk it out. Okay. Let's just figure this out and let's talk it out. And now we come to China as we round things out. Let's go back. Let's not go back, but let's go to China very quickly. Because what's interesting with China is this, right? During Trump's first term in office, if I remember correctly, he already had put a 25% tariff on China, right? And Biden never removed that 25% tariff, so it's still there. Now, Trump put a additional 10% tariff on China, which will go through at midnight because currently at the moment, China and America hasn't reached any type of agreement on anything. So you might think to yourself, okay, well, why is he taxing the heck out of China like this? I mean, outside of the fact that we're kind of enemies that work together because we kind of need to, at least for the moment, why is he, essentially taxing them crazy? Well, it's because of two things, right? Number one, China essentially provides all of the stuff, you can say, right, that's required to make fentanyl, and they send that to Mexico, and then from Mexico they compress that into pills, and then those pills come up here to the United States. That's number one, right? But number two, and I think something that's even more important to point out and highlight, even more so than the drugs, right, is that what Trump suspects China is doing is that in order to get around the original 25% tariffs, right, that was placed on all goods coming from China, what China has been doing is that they've been now manufacturing a lot of their goods in Mexico, right? So they ship their supplies to Mexico, manufacture and build those products there, and then ship them up to the United States from Mexico in order to avoid such a high tariff. That's what they're doing. So they're playing games, and I guess you could say they're being clever and figuring out their way around these tariffs, right? While not wanting to play ball with some of the things that Trump would like them to assist us with, you can say. But that's what's going on. And that's why Trump is adding an additional 10% tariff on China. Now, like I said, currently in the moment, China hasn't buckled yet, right? Not quite yet, but the door is open for them to do so. I want to close out with this Reuters article here. Is it Reuters? Yeah, it is Reuters. Yeah, it says right here by Reuters. China to propose restoring 20% or 2020 phase one trade deal with U.S. Wall Street Journal reports. I want to read that one more time. China to propose restoring 2020 phase one trade deal with U.S. Wall Street Journal reports. We're going to end it off with this because they're going to bend the knee too. China's initial proposal to tariffs imposed by U.S. President Donald Trump's administration will center on restoring the phase one trade deal signed in 2020 during Trump's first term, the Wall Street Journal reported, citing sources. Other parts of China's plan will include a pledge to not devalue the yuan and offer to make more investments in the US and a commitment to reduce exports of fentanyl precursors, according to the Wall Street Journal. They're about to pay us. Okay. They said, look, let's like bring back that old kind of deal that we had in 2020, where we do all these things plus make more investments into the US. All right. We'll hold you down and we'll give you guys more investments. So this is what they're seemingly working on right now, according to the Wall Street Journal. China will bend the knee very soon, very, very soon. So in the end, as it pertains to this trade war that I guess isn't really happening anymore, that so many people were hoping would happen because they were hoping that it would fail and make Trump look bad and put him in a negative light, it looks like Trump wins again. It looked like he won again. So sorry for all of you that don't like Trump and desperately want him to fail, because in the end, the guy just seems to keep winning over and over and over again. And just like that, Democrats are punching the air right now. They are punching the air in frustration. And with all that being said, that's going to do it for today's stream. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and share this video on your social media platforms. Shout out to all of you who are watching me on X right now. Go ahead and retweet this out, and hit the like button on X if you haven't already. And shout out to those of you who are watching on Rumble as well. Let me shout out to those who super chatted today and showed love, because I don't exist without you guys' support. Shout out to my man Jay Bird for 34 months of service. What's good, TD? I appreciate you, Jay Bird, for 34 months of service as a channel member. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Shout out to my man Saul, who keeps my family fed. Saul said, got a lot to say about the upsetting video earlier. Yes, about, folks burning the American flags while waving foreign flags, protesting mass deportation, right? But I bet any protester that but I bet any protester that is for open borders still have their doors mounted. Absolutely. 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 These guys are for open borders, but they got their doors locked and shut at their house, don't they? They don't want anybody coming into their home. And I should have made reference to, there's an article that came out in the Los Angeles Times, I want to say 2-3 years ago, where it showed in Mexico, a lot of Mexican citizens were mad. I've forgotten what city it was particularly, but there's a city in Mexico that borders the US, and a lot of US citizens were moving into that city in Mexico, right? Because it's like right on the other side of the border. And so they would work in the US, but then go to live in Mexico because it's significantly cheaper to do so. And they're living like kings off of, like, I don't know, $40,000 a year, living like kings and queens. And what that ended up resulting into is that, the property value and just everything, prices overall, was skyrocketing in that one particular city because Americans are moving there, right? And they have the money. So everybody's like, well, we're going to raise our prices so that we can cash out. But then what was happening is that those who are original, like the native Mexicans, you can say, from that city, they were pissed off, saying, hey, wait a minute, we're getting pushed out of our own neighborhood by these Americans. We want you Americans to go home. Oh, really? That's interesting. That's interesting. And that was a very good article. And I wish that I remembered to go through that article. And maybe I'll do it in another stream or another video. But yeah, when the shoe's on the other foot, folks seem not to like it too much. They seem not to like that too much. My man Saul ran it back one more time. He said, I noticed Donald Trump loves everybody. Oh, yeah, he's loving everybody, especially today. Especially today. When everyone starts bending the knee and folding, like cheap lawn chairs, after doing a whole lot of bluffing. Yeah, I love you too. just for today. So once again, man, with all that being said, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Telegram. I can't stress that enough. Please follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. Help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And that's it. That's all. I will catch you guys tomorrow morning. So peace and have a great evening. Oh, I almost missed my man Saul. He ran it back one last time. What did Saul say? Saul said, I read that article. A lot moved to Mexico City. Oh, was it Mexico City they went to? Yeah. They were big mad. They were big mad. They were hot that so many American citizens. I don't think it was Mexico City though, because Mexico City is kind of like in the middle of Mexico, isn't it? It's like in the middle of Mexico. I don't think it was Mexico City. I'm sure a lot of people probably are moving there, but regardless, they were upset that so many Americans were coming in, and they desperately wanted them to leave, desperately. But anyways, like I said, man, I'll catch you guys later. Peace and have a great evening, and I will catch you guys tomorrow morning.